Well, summer activity programme was for some of the children and teenagers at Jacodu project, and it was all about teaching them social and functional skills, providing activities that would help them to be more self-confident and to show them a different life outside of their feral community that they live in.
Pull right back, pull more, and go.
What was nice was that a happy environment was created at the camp for the volunteers and for the kids. And this in itself was like a therapy for them. It happened all so quickly, it wasn't really noticeable, but on reflection it was like a therapy for them to be in that outdoor environment with all this love and happiness around them and all the activities and people caring about them.
They came out of their shell, so at first they sort of stayed together, and then one by one they sort of, I think probably as their trust in us grew, they would slowly sort of separate, and we got to know them all individually. And I think they just, obviously they have their problems to deal with and that they face, but they seem to want to soak up knowledge.
It's about seeing people from out of a different community. It's like the story of the frog in the well, right? All he knows is the well and he thinks he's the king of the castle. But as soon as he gets out of the well and sees there's a whole other world, he's like, wow, there's so many other things to discover. And I think for these children, I hope that that's been their experience. They've seen other aspects to life other than just their community or their, little well type of thing.
The kids were able to bond with the volunteers, and I saw that they began to trust them as well. It was obvious when the kids first came, they were quite shy and not very confident. They were all allotted to their own volunteers. The trust built up, and it was no more than a couple of days before you saw them with completely different body language. With all the activities really, you see them focused on achieving an end result rather than in their feral community where they're just wild and live for hour to hour. They were actually focusing on making something happen. You saw them working as a team to achieve something. It was just amazing to see them focused on getting from A to B. They had the ropes to help them, but they really had to make that happen.
From work and stuff like that, I think your outdoor education is really important in developing people's confidence, because it gives them a sort of a level playing field and lets them achieve at their own pace and their own standard. And gives them a sense of achievement at the end of it. They make a choice and they have a real consequence at the end, and they get their real sense of achievement, whereas a lot of society doesn't allow them to do that.
They did extremely well going up the waterfall. First of all, they were like, oh, I don't think I can do this. And then when they saw it was achievable, they actually approached it with a really happy heart and big smiles on their faces when they'd achieved it.
It'd be good to sort of see how they've developed in a year with all the things on the gardening project and their education and their personalities and just everything else. It's wonderful to sort of see how they develop.
Go. Oh, go.
Well, once they got over the excitement of going on the train, they were very well behaved once they got established in their carriage. And I was amazed at how well behaved they were. But what I saw as well was how reflective they were on their faces. For some of them, for the most of them, it was the first time they'd been on a train.
No.
The kids in Sigishwara were quite amazing actually, because they just acted normally. They weren't... I expected them to be running around wild and not paying attention. But not only did they pay attention, they really enjoyed what was arranged for them. I mean, they were really attentive in the church, listening to the guide talking about the history. That was quite amazing, really. And in the restaurant, they were quite sociable. It was amazing, you know, they sat down, they just chatted amongst themselves, they enjoyed their pizza, and they were grateful. It was just so wonderful to see them acting in a normal, calm, peaceful way and enjoying it as well. It was the activities and the various range of them that really made up the activity programme. And I mean, there was the outdoor pursuits, there was baking, there was the tie-dyeing, and really it all enabled the kids to be focused on overcoming a challenge and reaching a goal.
Now there's been a big progression, how they've sort of familiarised themselves with sort of the traits that us volunteers have, and they've started picking up a bit of cheekiness to them, and also they've progressed in education-wise. We've been teaching them how to count from 1 to 10, now they're going up to 1 to 20 instead, so they really do pick things up really quickly.
Knees and toes, knees and toes.
From this year's summer activity programme, we've learnt a lot. We see where the weaknesses are. We see where we can change the schedules, change the activities, change the programme so that the children can achieve even more. What I can see of the kids, they will expect another activity programme. And they deserve it because, you know, those particular children that took part have worked really hard at school. They've worked hard on the education programme, and this is their reward. But it's not just that; it's a learning experience to build up their confidence and to teach them another way of life. I mean, what a small gesture which was noticed after this camp was that when she was taken back, Marcella, she had a sweet and she unwrapped it, and her mum and dad watched her walk over to the bin and put the wrapper in the bin, and they actually made the point of saying she did this, and I thought that was a small gesture but with quite a big impact, that her family noticed that instead of throwing it on the floor, she'd learnt that you have to walk over and put litter in the bin. I think the potential in those children at Jacodu really became evident when they started on the education programme. But this summer activity programme, seeing them mix in normal social situations, form relationships with the volunteers and enjoy the activities, really emphasises the potential that they've got. And basically, I feel they've got the potential to break cycles of poverty in future generations, because that's what we're asking of them. And you can really see that that potential is there in some of those children, which is really wonderful and which really is what the project is all about.
Santa Maria, Santa Maria, ding dang dong, ding dang dong.